and Carl is an attorney, and he mentioned something, and so he got to talking, and as I was thinking about it, his vision of a public bank is way different than my vision of what a public bank was, and that's why we weren't really connecting. I wasn't connecting on what he was saying, because he was saying it should not be backed by the full faith and credit of the people, and we should go after FDIC insurance because apparently you need that FDIC regulatory checkbox checked in order to have access to the Federal Home Loan Bank. So, and that is not true.
Not the case with Bank of North Dakota.
I know it's not the case of Bank of North Dakota.
FDIC.
Yeah.
So,
But I thought, my understanding was that there was new regulations that say
Yeah,
you can
that's right.
form a new bank.
yeah, apparently there's new regulations that were part of the Dodd-Frank thing, which the Republicans may actually repeal, so that, let's say, yeah, do that. But yeah, I'm inclined with you, I mean, that we should not get involved with the FDIC or any of that stuff. We should be regulated by our own local Department of Financial Institutions, along with the state auditor's office here. So,
It seems to me you can make an argument that you're different, you're not.
yeah. So that is truly the case, though. Is that correct? That's my question. Is that
Oddly enough, yesterday, I don't know if you may have followed this, but when Donald Trump was in Europe for the G20 meeting a couple weeks ago, he blocked, obviously, as you know, climate control, but he signed a bank regulatory agreement that would bring banks like Bank of North Dakota and the Seattle Municipal Bank under bank regulators. And it goes further, it goes into hedge funds, it goes into any kind of private equity, any kind of organization that makes any kind of loans whatsoever would be treated as a bank under the new G20, which is European driven. So it's a Euro initiative, not a US initiative. But in terms of what we were just talking about, I do think that there are ways around getting deposit insurance and getting access to the Federal Home Loan Bank. And I'd also think that there are, when I was working years ago, putting together the National Consumer Cooperative Bank, we found many organizations like the Ford Foundation, the Moss Foundation, that were very interested in program-related investments, that would put it on their balance sheet, a long-term obligation. And I think that's where this bank needs to go, ultimately.
That's cool.
You have a question back here?
I wondered if you
Wait a second.
I wondered if you knew about modern monetary theories at all. It comes out of the University of Kansas, in the University of Missouri at Kansas City. And it's, more on the federal level, but creating funds to get them out into the economy and create jobs and do the things that we need to do. It sort of reminds me of the FDR kind of thing, but that was on the gold standard. And just because we're not on the gold standard, we can do something like that. And I've just seen that the goals are exactly the same as the goals of public banking. And I was wondering how a fit could be made, or I don't know if you know about that.
The University of Missouri, Kansas City is a really progressive house for economics. We have Brandon Ray and Bill Black and Michael Hudson.
Stephanie Kelton.
Stephanie Kelton. Terrific. I mean, that's really the kind of, in our view, I think, the kind of the leading edge of how we're looking at money and realizing what the potential is for redevising, reimagining how it's deployed and how it's used, especially with the notion that if you have a sovereign currency, you really are the ones who, there is no limit to how much you can issue. Now, there's a practical limit and a systemic constraints, of course, and of course, aside from the regulatory ones. But that's an exciting frontier, and I think it changes the notion, and this is kind of kind of a paradigmatic notion of scarcity to abundance. And what we have to begin to realize and share is as Ellen's book indicates, we are caught in a web of debt that is controlled by private interests, and that's how they keep us stuck. When in fact we live in a world of great abundance and sufficiency. And if we can access that through the device that we call money or credit, bank credit or bank utility, all of those things can change the way the world operates and begin to free us from these constraints, which are so complete and global, of course. And I would suggest that what John just reported is one of the next ways in which we will lose access to that. The window is closing on our opportunity to make this real. The TTIP and the TSI, the Trade and Services Agreement, are all steps to corporatize and consolidate capital and the control of capital. So we're going to find ourselves very quickly, and of course very quickly we're finding ourselves in a world where currency is being replaced by plastic and digital. So you're not going to be able to stop that. But there might be, technologically, in this Ethereum world, is involving on the blockchain, maybe a different way to have currency and monetary systems that can support our economies. Now, I would add to that, too, that the thing about the US dollar, in the process of being replaced by the Asian-Russian alliance, is, that's being competed for, and that's great, but as Bernard Leotard, a monetary theorist, said, we would be safer if we had 4 different currencies in play rather than just one. Because if one fails, if the dollar goes down, we're all going down with it, right? And on the banking side of things. But if we have alternative currencies, ones that make particular appeal or apply to specific niches of interest, and they could be localized within state or within, as John suggested, task-focused. They become then new vehicles for us to have more control on how we design the economy of the future. We have to begin to design the next systems of what we're going to rely on, rather than just acquiescing to the realm of this fiefdom that we've been put in, and that we're struggling living with now.
Last question? Okay.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Senator Hasegawa, for advancing this issue on putting it on the map. So throughout the campaign, my understanding has been that this will be like a city bank, and now hearing that the state legislature is involved make me think that it's a state bank. So could you distinguish whether there are pros and cons to doing it on a state or municipal level?
I don't think it's an either or. If you look at the Sparkassen model, which Germany has, they've got a fully developed public banking system, all the way from the federal government to all the states, to all the municipalities. That's why they have such a, actually the growth, the total assets of the Sparkassen is like, I think, an order of magnitude more than Deutsche Bank, because it has that. My recollection is from the gentleman, I can't remember who it was that came from Germany.
Thomas Geidel.
Yeah.
Head of the Sparkassen Association in Berlin.
Yeah. He came and gave a presentation a couple of years ago. It was fascinating. But that's how they're able to finance their entire national solar build-out and converting to energy independence by using the public banking system. So it's not an either or. I've been working on this project at the state level for many years now, as you heard earlier. I saw this more recent opportunity to really elevate the conversation about it and build awareness about this whole public banking strategy.
That might be another angle other than housing. Sorry to interrupt, but
Sure.
just throwing out environmental angles as a foundation for the purpose of banking.
Yeah. It's whatever we as a people want our bank to do. Affordable housing and public housing is a crucial issue within the city, but global warming is huge too. There is no way we have the financing capacity to meet all the needs that we have unless we create a public banking system, because the way it is right now, Okay, if we write a capital budget, let's look at the state level. If we write a capital budget, a $2 billion capital budget, we're going to sell bonds. And some of that might be in cash, but let's say we sell $1 billion worth of bonds. This is bonds, in effect, going back to Wall Street to borrow back the money that is our tax dollars to begin with and paying in interest to them. Instead of doing that, we could leverage our own revenues to more than meet the $1 billion bonding that we want to sell. But the way that it is now, if we sell a $1 billion bond this year, it costs us $2 billion over the next 25 to 30 years by the time we've paid it back. As a one-time deal, that might be, if you have to, you have to. You know, if you don't have the cash to do that construction. But then next year, we want to do another $1 billion worth of construction, right? Because we have other valuable projects that need. And then the following year, so every year it's pyramiding, and right now we're at our debt capacity as a state. So we cannot sell more. The debt ceiling, according to our Constitution, is, what is it? 8.6% of revenues. We're constrained by the Constitution, by our debt ceiling. So that's why we can only do nothing but keep falling further back on our infrastructure. It's crumbling around us. So I see a public bank as just inevitable. We cannot continue down this path that is just totally unsustainable. Not just not sustainable, it's crumbling under the current limitations. So that's why it's so timely right now to get it done. My thinking, you know, does that answer your question?
Yeah, so just to be clear, I guess it's a state entity that would have like a branch in Seattle, a branch in Tacoma.
Yeah, separate entities altogether. So we're developing a state bank. We named it the Washington Investment Trust, and there's I don't know if you want to hear the story on why it's called the Washington Investment Trust, but, and then our city would create its own for its own. Although, if we could get a state bank, we could open it up to accept all the deposits for all the political subdivisions within the state too. Yeah, that's a possibility.
This one, you had a question?
I did. I heard something earlier about not being able to use pension money in the I guess it's the capitalization of the bank. Would it be possible to use private, if a real estate trust was set up that went to people like the 401s at PCC and Starbucks and said, would you be interested in putting 5% of your money in a real estate trust to build not only affordable housing, but housing for people who will never be able to afford a home, and that need is huge. Is that conceivable that real estate trust could be part of a state or city bank?
The answer is theoretically yes, it could. Theoretically, but you'd have to prove to the trustees. Now, PCC, they have what are called trustees of their 401k plan. And these trustees have errors and omissions insurance, and they have a fiduciary bond, and so forth. So you have to make sure that they are grounded in their decision to invest in a real estate investment trust or something. There are, right now, products on the market. There are REITs on the market. And people buy limited partnerships all the time in these REITs. And they provide not just income, they provide tax advantages outside of a 401k plan. So there's a lot of different mechanisms in public finance for us to go. But the answer is that you have to prove to the comfort of the trustees that this is a proper investment that's in the best interests of only the participants in the pension plan.
Is that it? So closing remarks then, just real briefly, we have experienced a privileged event tonight. I mean, we have the finest minds in in my mind, about public banking that we could possibly hope to get to talk to us about and answer all of our questions. So Ellen Brown, thank you for coming here. Walnut Creek, thank you for your service to Public Banking Institute. Sorry to lose you, but you're going to carry on the fight.
That's
A
right.
little different.
Thank you for your great work.
Yeah.
Thanks. John Comfort, my finance hero right here. And thank you all. Without your all's support, it ain't gonna happen. So we need you talking about this and helping build the movement because the politics drives everything on what we can.
Follow us on Facebook.
Follow us on Facebook. There's a Facebook page, Invest in Washington, Not Wall Street. If you want to check that out. Yes, you had a question?
I was just going to ask, what's happening to Coalition Building? I follow us on Facebook, is trying to answer. I was looking for-
Okay, awesome. Feel free to comment on that if you've got
There's Seattle Public Banking Coalition.
Seattle Public Banking Coalition is another one. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, everybody.